Stand by for Titanfall.
Hey Titanfall Legends, I'm your host Jax, and in this video I'll be going over the Titanfall news from the past week and talking about whether Titanfall 2 will be a competitive game. Before we get started, I have two quick things to go over. One, if you haven't heard yet, I'm giving away a $450 Titanfall Ogre collectible. It's a beautiful collectible and you only have until the end of today to enter. I'll leave the link to that below. And two, I noticed this comment on my last video about the Titanfall lore. Awesome vid and great editing, but quick question, why do you have the cheesy Titanfall Legends gimmick? This comment made me realize I need to clarify to anyone who subscribes, in case you were unaware, that this is no gimmick, and to prove it, we will now have the official ceremony to officiate every new Titanfall Legend. Let us begin. Before clicking the subscribe button, you were but an ordinary pilot, not receiving weekly updates on Titanfall 2 in a high-energy, entertaining format. But then, you decided to click the button. And to all subscribers who have clicked the holy button, I now christen you as no longer being an ordinary pilot. You are hereby officially given the title, which will stick with you until the end of time. The title which will cement your claim to the frontier as an above-ordinary pilot and warrior. You, yes you watching, are a Titanfall legend. A Titanfall legend. A Titanfall legend. Let's get into the video. Last weekend, there was a $2,000 Xbox One Titanfall tournament hosted by a dude called Shock Nevada, and the winning team, Cutthroat Esports, took the first place prize, walking away with $1,000. On May 21st, there's another tournament being held dubbed the Titanfall Championship Open Qualifiers with an $800 prize pool. 16 teams can enter, and the top 8 teams in the tournament will secure a spot in the finals. The finals will be held from June 3rd to 5th, and will be the top 8 teams from the qualifier and the top 8 teams from the previous tournament in April. The prize pool of the finals is apparently going to be over $4,000 thanks to fans crowdfunding the event. So if you and 3 other friends think you have what it takes, go sign up. For all the details, the links are below. And now I want to segue this into a broader conversation about Titanfall 2. I myself watched the Titanfall tournament last week. I was a little skeptical at first, I'll be honest, I haven't seen many Titanfall tourneys before and I didn't know what to expect. But I ended up watching most of it, and let me tell you, it was fun to watch. It's one thing to play Titanfall in public matches, but it's a whole nother experience to watch it played by some of the highest level players out there in a competitive setting. These guys have the maps memorized and use callouts effectively, they work as a team and get super hyped. It's really entertaining to watch. And all of this is just watching from a single player's perspective without shoutcasters, as Titanfall 1 did not feature a spectate mode. Which brings us to a broader question. Why did Titanfall 1 not support competitive play? Now, I don't know for sure, but I can speculate as to why. 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be invited to a Titanfall event in Los Angeles and got to play the game early. There I met Vince Zampella, the CEO of Titanfall's creators, Respawn, and got to ask him a few questions about the game. I told him how I got the feeling Titanfall could be a big game competitively, and asked him if Titanfall planned to offer competitive support. He told me that there was no plans for it, which kind of gutted me to be honest, but then he elaborated as to why. Now, I don't remember his exact response, it was a while ago, but I do know the gist of what he said. He basically said, Titanfall is such a new and different experience that their plan for the first game is just to introduce everything. To introduce the idea of wall running, titans, and all these brand new mechanics some players have never seen before. He basically said that players need to get familiar with all of this, they need to understand the foundation of the game first. And although I didn't really get that answer back then, looking back now, it kind of makes sense. The type of people playing Titanfall for the first time were players coming from Call of Duty, Halo, and other games. The core gameplay in Titanfall is a huge shift from those games. Had Titanfall 1 come out guns blazing with too many features and too much content off the bat, it may have actually scared off players from learning about the game. It possibly could have been too much. And although we all know towards the end of Titanfall's life cycle, the lack of extra content and customization did end up hurting Titanfall, that's where Titanfall 2 comes in. Titanfall has established the core fundamentals of the franchise. It stuck its foot in the door of the FPS industry, and when people hear the word Titanfall, they understand the basics of what it is. Now, Respawn can a lot more easily introduce things like competitive options, a proper spectate mode, leaderboards, and the whole 9 yards without it being too much for people. And that brings me to the question of the day. Should Titanfall 2 support competitive play with things such as spectate tools, leaderboards, actual rank queues, investments in tournaments, and more? Feel free to leave a comment down below. I don't answer them all, but I do read every one, or just answer silently in your head. In other news, we're 42 days away from the official Titanfall 2 reveal. I'm doing a countdown every day to the reveal on social media, so if you want to stay up to date on that, either like Titanfall Legends on Facebook or follow me on Twitter. Speaking of Vince Zampella, last week we were actually trolled by him on twitch.tv. He was in a Twitch chat watching the Xbox tournament and teased us by saying, "Wait until you see the new, oops, can't say yet." In other news, Respawn announced this week that they're hiring QA testers to test Titanfall 2. So if you live in the LA area and you have experience with trying to break games, find bugs, etc., it may be a great opportunity for you. I'll leave the link to that below. That's all the community and Titanfall news I have to cover from the past week. Expect another video within a week, as I'll always do at least one video a week covering the news and talking about something interesting to do with Titanfall. Lastly, our Titanfall Legends writer Jack is actually in the hospital right now. He had some severe stomach pain and he has been there since the other day. Jack really helped with the Titanfall lore video and I'm sure he'll be fine, but feel free to keep him in your thoughts or prayers. Also, welcome to all the new Titanfall Legends who just joined the channel. It's great to have you here and I'll be doing my best to keep you entertained. This has been your host Jax, and until next time, stand by for Titanfall.